A ceasefire is announced. 2 weeks of calm, promise between two long-standing rivals. But in geopolitics, a pause is rarely just a pause. So what does this agreement really mean? Late Tuesday, a critical development unfolds. Donald Trump confirms that the United States has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran, just hours before a potential escalation point. Military operations are paused. And Iran signals coordination, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz. A narrow passage, but one with global consequences. Because the Strait of Hormuz is not just geography. It is one of the most critical energy corridors in the world, with nearly 1/5 of global oil supply passing through it. Recent tensions had already disrupted flow, triggering volatility in global markets. So when a ceasefire includes Hormuz, it's not just about military restraint. It's about economic stability. Global stability. Behind the scenes, diplomacy has been active. Pakistan plays a role in encouraging de-escalation, pushing both sides toward a temporary pause. In Washington, the response is measured. Trump describes the framework as a workable basis for further talks. Not a final deal, but an opening. And in Tehran, the tone is equally calculated. Officials frame this moment not as a concession, but as a strategic position. But just as this agreement begins to take shape, another critical development emerges. An order is issued. All military units are instructed to stop firing. A signal of restraint. A moment that could change the trajectory of a growing crisis. But in a region already on edge. Can a single command really bring calm? Iran state media confirms that all military units have been instructed to cease fire operations. At first glance, the message is clear: de-escalation. But the language tells a deeper story. This is not the end of conflict. It is a pause. A controlled halt, designed to create space for negotiation. Because in high-stakes geopolitical environments, words are never accidental. Every phrase signals intent and leaves room for adjustment. To understand this moment, we need to step back. For weeks, tensions have been building across the region, spreading beyond borders, involving multiple actors, and drawing global attention. Key strategic points, like the Strait of Hormuz, have become central to the situation. This is not just a regional issue. It is a global one. Energy markets, trade routes, and international diplomacy, all connected to what happens next. But here's where the situation becomes more complex. In military environments, orders do not always translate instantly into outcomes. Communication takes time. Coordination takes time. And in fast-moving situations, events already in motion may continue, even after new directives are issued. And then, within hours of these developments, a new layer of uncertainty emerges. A ceasefire is announced. A moment that should signal calm. But instead, sirens begin to sound. Missile alerts. Interceptions. Rising tension across multiple regions. So what happens when peace is declared, but instability continues? Reports begin to surface. In the Gulf, defense systems activate. Warnings are issued. Emergency responses begin. And in Israel, incoming projectiles are detected. All of this happening shortly after the ceasefire is announced. Which raises a critical question. If a ceasefire is in place, why are alerts still being triggered? Analysts point to a key reality. Ceasefires are not instantaneous. They move through layers. Command structures, communication systems, operational timelines. Which means actions already in motion may continue briefly, even after new orders are given. And this is not without precedent. In past conflicts, early phases of ceasefires have often included confusion, delays, and overlapping signals before stability begins to take hold. Because the region itself is complex. Multiple actors. Multiple fronts. and deeply interconnected dynamics. So a single agreement does not immediately synchronize every layer of activity. So what are we really witnessing? A ceasefire under pressure? Or a system adjusting in real time? Because in modern geopolitics, peace is rarely a single moment. It is a process. One that often begins with uncertainty, before it moves toward stability. For now, the ceasefire exists, at least in principle. But what happens next will determine whether it holds or begins to unravel.